Hi, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Arif Daniel, and on behalf of my team, I'll be presenting on a chapter of topic 1, which is concrete curing process. So, these are my team members, Amira Shafira, me myself, Irfan Fizaril, and Nurul Natasha. Alright, firstly, what is concrete curing? So concrete curing is actually a process of maintaining hydration in concrete for a desired time after applying the concrete in the formwork or in the cast. So why do we do this? So this is to ensure that the durability and strength of concrete is guaranteed, and this definitely helps to avoid shrinkage of the concrete mixture, especially when we have prepared the right formwork. So if it shrinks, that means it will not fit the building design. Alright, so there are various methods to cure concrete. In our study, we have found 5 methods that can be used, and these are the process that can be used. So firstly, it's shading concrete work. So shading concrete work is meant by preventing erosion by building or setting up a tent over the concrete work. This is very important for large spaces of concrete work, and if the weather in the area is quite hot or dry, so shades can help to maintain moisture for large spaces of concrete work. Why, like I've mentioned earlier, do we do this is to cover from dry and hot weather and eventually rain. It's always important to cover large spaces so that the curing process takes part gradually the same. It's not that this part will dry first and that part will dry significantly later than other parts. So this will cause a problem when we're continuing with the next phase of the project. So it's important to keep it very equally gradually curing process for all concrete space. Hence we use shade to do it. Alright, the second method is called sprinkling of water. So this can be seen also in projects, especially in Malaysia, where it can get really hot sometimes. So this is again another method to maintain moisture. Because why do we use water sprinkling? First of all, concrete takes a very long time to cure. Sometimes it takes up to 1 month. So in this 1 month period, if the weather is hot, so we don't want the concrete to cure ahead of time. We want it to be on time and not too late. So to maintain this atmosphere, construction workers will spray water on the concrete work and regularly, every day sometimes, and in a regular period, just to maintain the right moisture of time to let the concrete sit and cure properly. So again, this is very good because concrete takes a very long time, and we don't want any part of the concrete to be curing a little too ahead of time. It will not provide a good strength for the concrete later when it is used properly in the building. Alright, so the third method is ponding. So what is ponding? So it's just straightforward. Water is ponded over concrete work after it is applied in the cast. So quite different from sprinkler of water. Water sprinkler can actually be used for vertical spaces. However, ponding method can only be used for level surface, flat surface. This is actually widely adopted, especially for ground slabs. Alright, so again, ponding method is agreed only for flat surfaces. If you have any angle inclination on the surface, then it will not be good, because the concrete will not cure properly and will affect the strength and might shrink in the formwork. So this is not what the builders want in situations. So ponding is good if for ground floor slabs or flat roofs, especially for large spaces of flat roof. Sometimes they use kind of like paddy, a grid-like system to cure the concrete properly. And all ponds the pond are actually, water is ponded by the grid of the formwork, according to the formwork. Alright, the next method is called membrane curing. So membrane, we all know membrane is like a layer of on top of a surface. So similarly to concrete curing, a membrane is a sheet that touches the surface of the concrete after it is applied in the cast. So this will be left for up to 15 days, depends on the size, the need for the concrete to the span of time for the concrete to cure. Normally it stays for at least 1 week on top of the concrete work. So what are these sheets made of? Are they regular sheets that you can find in supermarket? No, these membranes are made of a mix of bitumen emulsions, wax emulsions, and some polymers like plastics. So they have special characteristics that help concrete cure better. So why do we use membrane curing? Firstly, when water is scarce, spraying method becomes not so economically viable and less practical. So when in this situation, we use membrane curing, but we will apply with spray of water prior to covering the concrete work with membranes. So where do we use this? Where do we use membrane curing? Well, some membrane curing method takes part in pavement. Usually in pavement, you can see when they want to build pavement or some concrete pathway. So they will use membrane curing as part of the method to cure concrete. Okay, the final method is steam curing. So what is steam? Steam is created from high atmospheric pressure or high pressure steam, usually in a very controlled environment. So where do we use this? Steam is actually used in prefabrication concrete work. So as we know, some parts of the buildings like IBS or other design parts to be built in prefabrication process, they will be created in the controlled environment in a factory or in the plant. So in the plant, they have a steam boiler to generate steam and hence cure the concrete. So why do we use this? Okay, why do we use steam? First of all, it is very good for places with a very cold climate, maybe in the Western countries during the winter season, or maybe during when it rains very heavily. So this is actually a very good alternative to provide curing that is very accelerated. So this will eventually cut costs cut time for project and eventually cut costs because shorter project period meaning shorter costs. So again, why do we use this? It provides more strength for the concrete work because when we can control the factors that affect concrete strength, especially during curing, it will be very beneficial because the product will come out much stronger than the previous methods mentioned. Of course, there are some pros and cons because we can't bring the steam machine to site, so this is actually quite limited to prefabrication. But the benefit in terms of time is very significant. So curing with steam can be very quick and thence might be more economically viable for construction projects. I think that should be all for our presentation on topic 1 for this chapter. We would like to help if any of you have further inquiries, and that should be all. Thank you so much and have a nice day.
Assalamualaikum and hi, my name is Ifa Fizara bin Abdul Wahab and I represent for Group 1. Today, I'm going to present about roof in general, including the advantages and disadvantages of roof as well. But first, let me introduce our group members, which are Amira Shafira binti Azman, Arif Daniel bin Muhammad Lofi, Nur Natasha binti Muhammad Firdaus, and me, Irfan Fizara bin Abdul Wahab. So, let's start with the first part, which is roof. What is a roof? Well, a roof is a structure forming the upper covering of a building or other shelter. Its primary purpose is generally to provide protection from the elements, but it may also contribute to safety, security, privacy, insulation, and other things. Roofs can be constructed from a wide variety of materials and in a wide variety of shapes, depending on the requirements they have to satisfy, like the local climate, the availability of materials and skills of the spans that need to be covered. Next is a type of roof. There are two types that I want to talk here, which is pitch roof and flat roof. The first one is pitch roof. Pitch roof consists of two angle slabs that join together in the middle and have gables on either end. Depending on the size of the building and the size of the pieces, the pitch angles change significantly. So in order to prevent rain from building up on the roof, some people have traditionally built with an extremely deep pitch. In other places, the pitch might be shallower and the roof might be only slightly inclined to permit water to drain from the roof. The second one is flat roof. In contrast to the many varieties of slope roof, a flat roof is a roof that is almost level. A roof pitch is the correct term for its slopes. Although flat roofs often have a slope of up to 10 degrees, and despite of having so many disadvantages of using flat roof here in Malaysia, many developers still tend to choose this type of roof due to its aestheticism. Move on to the next part, which is functions of roof. There are a lot of functions, but I will highlight only 4 of them. The first one is fire resistance. The roof covering needs to be strong enough to withstand the impact of weather factors, including wind, rain, sun, and snow. The second one is heat protection. The structure of the roof should offer sufficient defense against heat, both to the residents and the building materials. The third one is sound insulation, which means that every building roof should offer an adequate level of soundproofing against noise coming from outside sources. And the last function is fire resistance. In order to guard against the spread of fire from any neighboring buildings and to avoid an early collapse of the roof should provide an acceptable level of fire resistance. Additionally, the design of the building should prevent fire from spreading from its source to other areas of the structure via the roof. So, in relation to the case study, let's look into the neighborhood of Bandar Hill Park Puncak Alam to gather information on the roof design and their impacts on the design and practicality. There are various types of roof in the neighborhood, which each having their own advantages and disadvantages. Furthermore, the house for this case study is designed with a mix of pitch roof for the first floor, and a couple of reinforced concrete flat roof for the front porch and rear extension at the backyard. Both reinforced concrete flat roofs are extended and added due to the extension made by the homeowners. For this case study, we have chosen the flat roof design within the neighborhood. These roofs are designed by the developers or added later by the homeowners during renovation and extension projects. The design of the flat roofs are relatively similar, although some builders did allocate a gutter on the roof and rainwater downpipe. So, what is the advantages of flat roof? The first one is they are easy to clean, as flat roofs are more accessible than other roofing systems. They are easier to maintain. Being able to access every part to clean it regularly prevents mold, algae, stains, and debris from building up. The second one is they are affordable. The materials used in flat roofing are inexpensive, thus making them affordable. Labor costs are also lower because installation is less complicated. Talking about complicated, the third point is they have uncomplicated design, which means they are easy to install. As mentioned, it is easy to install a flat roof and take less time than the alternatives. And repair are painless because it can be fixed quickly. And the last point is they are versatile. Unlike slope roof, flat roofs are accessible and thus easy to inspect for damage and leaks. You can also utilize the rooftop in many ways, such as creating a deck, a garden, or using it for relaxation or entertainment, such as parties and other things. Next is the disadvantages. The first point is they have drainage issue. Flat roofs are prone to drainage issue because water tends to puddle. Unlike pitch roof that have shingles to the drain water, a flat roof needs to be monitored for standing water, debris, and clogged drainage. The second point is possible leakage problem, and the last point is they are less attractive. Flat roofs are not about style, they are about function. Typically, they come in natural colors like black, white, and gray. So if design and appearance is what you are after, you should look elsewhere. We have discussed and came up with a recommendation on this matter, which is flat roof can still be incorporated in the house design, but serious thought needs to be considered, especially on drainage and extensive waterproofing works. Homeowners may choose pitch roof designs that are not too intricate as an alternative to flat roof. The commonly used gable roofs are a good substitute to the typical flat roof. So to conclude, to inspire homeowners of the terrace house in Bandar Hill Park Puncak Alam, it is very important to understand the basics of roof, inclusive of their design and the advantages and disadvantages. Builders too can play a role when advising homeowners who are planning to renovate or extend their house by suggesting better roof alternatives. The factor cost and convenience must always not dismissed, and practicality and the maintenance factors. So that's all from our group, and thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Arif Daniel, and on behalf of my group, I'll be presenting on the case study for our assignment, which is Taman Cherry, a series of residential terrace houses located in Bandar Hill Park, Puncak Alam. So, the houses, they are built with a mix of pitch and also RC flat roof, reinforced concrete. But in this case study, we'll be focusing on the flat roof part of the building, which quite significant. They have a flat roof. They have built flat roof for the RC and also for the RC porch, and also for the first floor of the building. Okay, Firstly, what is a flat roof? So flat roof is a roof that is almost level in contrast to other types of slope roof. This kind of roofs, they have little to no slope at all. Alright, for the advantages of a flat roof, it can be seen that it has a relatively cheaper construction cost, because they don't have any angulation, so the work can be quite straightforward, and actually it's quite easy to clean because the flat design of the roof enables practical spaces inside and outside of the roof. Okay, so the next advantage is uncomplicated design. So the design, as straightforward as it can be completed in a faster way compared to pitch roof or any other slope roof. And final advantage is it is very versatile because the spaces in the flat roof can be utilized, can be maximized its use for maybe decorations, and it's actually more practical in terms of spaces versus other kind of slope roof or pitch roof. Right, however, these roofs, they also come with several notable disadvantages. Okay, firstly, in a tropical country like us, flat roof can be quite treacherous. This is due to the heavy rainfall in Malaysia. In Sarjana Utama, in Bandar Hill Park, or the nearby area of this neighborhood, some flat roofs have shown that they are very prone to water ponding, and with poor drainage and poor water flow, can cause water seeping into the wall structure and cause mold, cracking wall paint or ceiling paint. So these mold patches, cracked wall paints, they are due to the poor drainage on the flat roof. And despite all its practicality, flat roof can be quite a challenge for maintenance, especially in Malaysia. We have seen residential buildings that in the nearby area of Taman Hill Park that might need more maintenance work due to the build of flat roof, where sometimes owners, they extend their part of the building in the backyard or on the first floor to build on top of the porch, but then they continue building it with flat roof, and you can see on the side walls and on the top of the roof, so you can see some mold start to growing up. So it's not very practical in terms of facing the heavy rainfall in Malaysia. So with that, I conclude the presentation for the poster, and I sincerely thank you.